Good afternoon here, YouTube people. What is going on with you all today? Yeah, I'm coming to you from the regular spot that I changed not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. I just got a message from one of my pastime homeless friends that the guy that I spent 2 years in a hotel with passed away today. And it was kind of a bad situation. It happened suddenly. He's 65. He doesn't smoke cigarettes, and he doesn't drink alcohol, and he doesn't do drugs. And he was just previously, he got a job at the church that I used to go and eat breakfast every morning at. And he just fell asleep in the church, and they woke him up, and next thing they know, he had a heart attack, and they took him. This was like 4 days ago, and they took him to the emergency room, and he had been released like 44 hours later, I guess it was, and then he just passed away. It's kind of heartfelt. I mean, I had a close bond with the guy. I mean, we weren't sleeping together. We were in the same room. We had a double, but we shared in expenses in that, and I was very grateful to have him as a friend. You know, I mean, it's not easy being out on the street, you know, and he was definitely a big guy. I always describe him as like a defensive lineman for a football team, you know, NFL type guy, you know. He big guy, you know, and he provided a lot of what I would call protection anyways. And yeah, so he's going to be very missed. And, you know, I love the guy, you know. I mean, we had our ups and downs, of course. One day I don't like to air anything, especially in a time like this. But anyways, one day I had owed him $2 from the previous day, and I just had made enough money for the room. So I'm getting ready to go, and he says, "Where's my $2?" I said, "Well, if I use this $2, I'm not going to be able to get a room with you tonight." Anyways, he started crying about it, and I turned away from him. I turned back, and he slapped me across the face. I mean, it wasn't like a girlish slap, let's just put it that way. He didn't punch me, but nevertheless, he slapped me, and I left. I went to the MARTA station, which was like, I don't know, maybe a mile from there. He showed up over there. He apologized, blah, 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 and, you know, we were okay again. Needless to say, we had to stay out there because I guess he was upset because I had made more money than him in that day, and, you know, I didn't have nothing to prove. I mean, he always went around bragging about how much money he made, but it turned out to be false. You know, he would go into Waffle House and borrow money from people, and he also made a lot of bets, you know, sometimes good, sometimes not, and so he owed a lot of money, and you know, he was wanting $2 from me, which I would have gladly had given him, but I thought he had enough money for the room, but apparently he did not. So we ended up staying outside that night at the MARTA bus stop. And, you know, we waited until morning. We got enough money, both of us, for the rest of the week, and then, we did what we did. But the whole point of it is we had our ups and downs, but I wasn't like an enemy to him. We split up at one time. He had gone off and done the same thing with this other guy, but this other guy, he was actually working in a mechanic shop. And so him and the guy I was with, they would come up with the monies together, and he paid for a bed there and that, and long story short, he told a lot of stories, but he was still a good guy for me. I mean, he wasn't like bad on me. He came and apologized several times to me for being the way he was, because he knew I wasn't that way. And it worked out in the long run, but he got a job at the church. They actually gave him a really good job, and they paid for his apartment and this and that, and everything was gravy with him from February until today. They were paying for a new apartment for him and everything else, which I thought was great. And I'm sad to hear that he passed away. But, I don't know. I mean, I do have grievances for that. But him and I were cool together. I mean, we didn't have any bad times or anything. I wish that he would have been able to live longer, but, my time comes, I gotta go too, I mean, everybody's gotta go when they gotta go. So that's how I feel about it. I don't believe that you have a number that's called, but people do say that. But I do believe that when it's time and my Father calls you, that's it. You don't, there's no, okay, well, we'll just send you back for another few years or something like that. I don't believe in that. I mean, sure enough, if you're taken by somebody else, there is an opportunity of that, sure enough, but I don't look at it as being that, per se. Anyways, I got to thinking about that, and a lot of people that have been in my life, or my family members, or whoever, have actually passed away here within the last 5 years. I've had probably about 5 or 6 people close enough to me that have passed away. And, it's always a bad thing when somebody passes away, but it gets better in time. And, the only one that ever passed away that I still think about from time to time is my dad. Like I said, my dad was like my best friend. I could go to him and tell him anything, and he would listen to me. And, he also told me some things, and I listened to him. So, it was very grieving for me when my dad passed away. But I've had a few cousins here pass away, aunties, uncles, that kind of stuff. And it's always hard, but, it gets better in time. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. Hopefully he knows that I love him, and, everything's cool now. You don't have to be so defensive and offensive. You can relax. Your time here is done. And I want to tell the rest of you that I love you. I love you right there. Love yourself. Love my Father God. By all means, Love each other, people. Until the next time, love, peace, and soul.